Welcome to Just Listen Books channel. Immerse yourself in the world of literature as we summarize books and deliver them in audio form. Perfect for your car rides, travels, and daily activities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. Let the journey into the world of books begin. The War of Art by Steven Pressfield stands as a beacon for creatives entangled in the throes of their own inner battles. This compelling tome delves deep into the essence of creative struggle, offering not just solace, but a battle plan for those who find themselves perennially on the cusp of creative breakthroughs, yet unable to breach the barriers of procrastination, fear, and self-doubt. Pressfield, through a candid and unvarnished lens, lays bare the intangible yet palpable force he dubs resistance, which he deems the root of all creative impasse. The book is meticulously structured into 3 pivotal sections, each addressing a crucial phase in the journey from recognizing to combating and ultimately transcending resistance. Book 1. Resistance, Defining the Enemy. In Book 1 of The War of Art, titled Resistance, Defining the Enemy, Steven Pressfield introduces and meticulously dissects the concept of resistance, laying the foundation for understanding the central obstacle faced by individuals when pursuing any form of creative or personal advancement. This section is crucial because it frames the entire discussion on the nature of the challenges that prevent us from achieving our fullest potential. The nature of resistance. Pressfield begins by personifying resistance, giving it capitalization to underscore its power and omnipresence in our lives. He describes resistance as an invisible internal force that opposes our efforts to grow, create, and evolve. It's not just a fleeting feeling of reluctance, but a pervasive and persistent entity that actively works to deter us from our path. Characteristics of resistance. Invisible. Resistance cannot be seen, touched, heard, or smelled, but it can be felt, as it exerts a force against our actions towards positive change or creative endeavors. Internal. Unlike external obstacles, resistance originates within the individual. It is self-generated and self-perpetuated. Insidious. Resistance is deceitful and tricky, often presenting itself in forms that seem rational and justifiable, such as procrastination, fatigue, or prioritizing less important tasks. Impersonal. Resistance is not personal. It acts indiscriminately, affecting everyone equally, regardless of talent, intelligence, or ambition. Infallible. The presence of resistance is a sign that something truly important is at stake. It is most potent when we are close to achieving meaningful, transformative work. Universal. Everyone experiences resistance. It is a common struggle shared across cultures, professions, and creative fields. Unique to each individual. While universal, the experience of resistance is tailored to each person's vulnerabilities, manifesting in ways that most effectively deter the individual from their particular calling. Manifestations of resistance. Pressfield explores the various guises under which resistance manifests, making it clear that it's not just about laziness or lack of discipline. Resistance can take the form of fear, self-doubt, self-sabotage, procrastination, addiction, distraction, and many other behaviors that lead us away from our constructive and creative endeavors. Resistance and procrastination. Procrastination is highlighted as one of the most common and recognizable forms of resistance. It's the act of delaying important tasks, justifying inaction with a myriad of excuses, and often substituting busy work for meaningful work. Resistance and self-doubt. Self-doubt is another significant aspect of resistance, where individuals question their worthiness, talent, or right to succeed or pursue their goals. This can lead to a crippling fear of exposure or failure, paralyzing the individual from taking any action. Resistance and fear. Fear is identified as the root of resistance. Pressfield delves into the fear of success as much as the fear of failure, discussing how both can lead to self-sabotage because of the changes and challenges that success might bring. Overcoming resistance. While the first book primarily focuses on identifying and understanding resistance, Pressfield also begins to touch upon the notion of combating it. The key to overcoming resistance is first recognizing its presence and then adopting a professional mindset, which he expands upon in the subsequent sections of the book. Conclusion of Book 1. Book 1 serves as a comprehensive examination of resistance, setting the stage for the rest of The War of Art. By endowing resistance with characteristics and discussing its manifestations, Pressfield personalizes the struggle, making it relatable and understandable. He paints resistance not just as an enemy, but as a constant companion in our journey towards self-improvement and creative expression. This section is a call to arms for readers to acknowledge their own resistance and prepare to battle it, laying the groundwork for the transformation discussed in the later parts of the book. Book 2. Combating Resistance, Turning Pro. In Book 2 of The War of Art, titled Combating Resistance, Turning Pro, Steven Pressfield shifts the focus from identifying and understanding resistance to strategies for overcoming it. This section is pivotal as it outlines the transformation required to defeat resistance, encapsulated in the decisive act of turning pro. Pressfield contrasts the amateur's mindset with that of the professional, elucidating the behavioral and psychological shifts necessary to engage in creative work more effectively and overcome the hurdles posed by resistance. The concept of turning pro. Pressfield introduces the idea of turning pro as a metaphorical commitment one makes to transcend the amateur status, not by earning money or gaining recognition, but by adopting a professional's mindset and approach towards work. This commitment is internal and personal. It's a shift in perspective that changes how one approaches their craft, faces challenges, and commits to their work. Characteristics of a professional. Professionalism as a mindset. Being professional is less about occupation and more about the attitude and dedication one brings to their work. It's a commitment to excellence, growth, and perseverance. Show up every day. Professionals work consistently, regardless of external conditions or internal states such as mood, inspiration, or personal issues. They understand the importance of maintaining momentum and routine in their work. Staying on task. Professionals remain focused on their work, not allowing distractions or alternative interests to divert their attention from their primary objectives. Commitment to mastery. The professional is committed to continuous improvement and lifelong learning in their craft. They understand that mastery is a journey, not a destination. Work over ego. Professionals distance their personal selves from their work, understanding that criticism or failure of their work is not a reflection of their worth as individuals. The amateur versus the professional. Pressfield draws a clear distinction between the amateur and the professional to highlight the transformation needed to overcome resistance. The amateur plays for fun, is easily derailed by setbacks, seeks validation, and often lives in a state of fear and procrastination. In contrast, the professional is disciplined, focused, resilient, and works from a place of love for the craft rather than a need for approval. The dangers of remaining an amateur. Remaining an amateur, Pressfield argues, means living under the tyranny of resistance, where one's work and potential are perpetually compromised by fear, distraction, and lack of commitment. This state not only hinders personal and professional growth, but also leads to a life of unfulfilled potential and regret. The decision to turn pro. Turning pro is presented as a definitive choice, a moment of clarity and commitment where one decides to take their work and themselves seriously. This decision is often precipitated by a moment of deep frustration or a realization of the futility of remaining in the amateur's mindset. The journey of the professional. Pressfield acknowledges that turning pro is not a one-time event, but a daily recommitment to the professional ethos. The professional understands that the journey is fraught with challenges, but sees these as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. The role of habits and discipline. Habits and discipline are underscored as the bedrock of the professional's life. Establishing a routine, setting boundaries, and adhering to a strict work ethic are essential for maintaining momentum and productivity in the face of resistance. The professional's relationship with fear and failure. Unlike the amateur, the professional expects fear and failure and is not deterred by them. They understand that these are integral parts of the creative process and that confronting them is essential for growth and achievement. Beyond the work, the professional's life. Pressfield also touches on how turning pro impacts one's life beyond the work itself. The discipline, focus, and integrity that define the professional's approach to work bleed into other aspects of life, fostering a more grounded, purposeful, and fulfilled existence. Conclusion of Book 2. Book 2 serves as a compelling call to action, urging readers to shed the constraints of amateurism and embrace the disciplined, focused, and resilient mindset of the professional. Pressfield's portrayal of turning pro is both a roadmap and a battle cry, offering practical guidance while inspiring readers to take the leap, face resistance head-on, and commit fully to their creative and personal endeavors. This section is crucial for understanding the behavioral and psychological shifts required to overcome resistance and achieve one's potential in creative work and life. Book 3. Beyond Resistance, The Higher Realm. In Book 3 of The War of Art, titled Beyond Resistance, The Higher Realm, Steven Pressfield explores the transcendental aspects of the creative process, suggesting that overcoming resistance allows access to a more profound, almost spiritual dimension of creativity. This section delves into the concept of inspiration, the role of the muse, and the notion of being an instrument for a higher creative power, presenting a more mystical perspective on the art of creation. The role of the muse. Pressfield draws upon ancient traditions that personify inspiration as the muse, a divine entity that serves as the source of all creative endeavors. The muse symbolizes the higher realm from which pure creativity flows, and artists, writers, and creators are portrayed as conduits for this divine inspiration. The relationship with the muse is sacred, and the act of creation is seen as a form of worship or communion with this higher power. Invoking the muse. The idea of invoking the muse through ritual and preparation is discussed as a way to signal readiness and openness to receive inspiration. Pressfield suggests that specific routines, rituals, or practices can help creatives attune themselves to the frequency of the muse, making them more receptive to the whispers of creativity that originate in the higher realm. The ego and the self. Pressfield contrasts the ego with the self, where the ego is seen as the seat of resistance, and the self is aligned with the higher creative forces. The ego is bound by fear, pride, and material concerns, while the self transcends these limitations, seeking expression of higher truths and universal beauty. The battle against resistance is thus framed as a struggle between the ego's desires and the self's calling, the artist's life as a medium. The notion of the artist or creator as a medium is central to this section. Pressfield posits that true artistry involves surrendering personal ambitions and desires to serve as a vessel for the muse. This perspective redefines the creative act as one of humility and service, where the individual's role is to bring forth work that originates from beyond their personal scope. The territory versus the hierarchy. Pressfield introduces the concept of territory as a metaphorical space where one's true work is done, contrasting it with hierarchy, which represents societal status, competition, and external validation. Operating within one's territory implies focusing on the work itself, drawing satisfaction and sustenance from the act of creation, rather than from the accolades or recognition it might bring. The artist and the hierarchical world. The challenges of navigating a world obsessed with hierarchy are acknowledged, with Pressfield advising creatives to anchor themselves in their territory to maintain integrity and authenticity. The satisfaction derived from working within one's territory is presented as purer and more enduring than any external validation. The divine aspect of creativity. Pressfield explores the idea that engaging in creative work connects one to the divine, suggesting that each piece of art or creative endeavor is, in essence, a spiritual act. This connection to something larger than oneself is portrayed as the ultimate antidote to resistance, providing a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends ordinary existence. The paradox of the professional. In an interesting twist, Pressfield revisits the concept of turning pro, framing it as a necessary foundation for accessing the higher realm. The discipline, focus, and commitment of the professional are what allow the creative individual to become a reliable conduit for the muse's inspiration. Conclusion of Book 3. Book 3 of The War of Art elevates the discussion from the practicalities of overcoming resistance to the spiritual dimensions of the creative process. Pressfield offers a vision of art and creativity as sacred duties, with the artist serving as a bridge between the mundane and the divine. This section challenges readers to view their creative endeavors not just as personal or professional pursuits, but as acts of higher significance with the potential to tap into universal truths and contribute to the collective human spirit. The message is one of hope and elevation, proposing that the struggle against resistance is not only a path to personal fulfillment, but a journey towards a more profound connection with the essence of creativity itself. The journey through the book. The War of Art is more than a mere collection of ideas. It is a journey, an initiation into a brotherhood and sisterhood of creatives who walk the tightrope between the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknowable. Pressfield's prose is both a scalpel and a balm, dissecting the layers of self-deception and doubt that shroud our potential while offering solace in the shared struggle against the omnipresent resistance. The narrative is punctuated with anecdotes and parables, drawing from the wellsprings of mythology, history, and personal experience, weaving a tapestry that is both intimate and universal. Pressfield's voice is that of a seasoned warrior, grizzled yet hopeful, having faced the specter of resistance time and again, bearing scars and stories as tokens of his passage. This book is a call to arms, urging us to recognize our common foe, to rally our inner resources, and to embrace the discipline and sacrifice required to bring forth our latent gifts. It challenges the reader to question the very essence of their reluctance, to probe the depths of their fears, and to confront the reality that the only thing standing between them and their greatest work is themselves. Conclusion. In the final analysis, The War of Art is a profound meditation on the nature of creativity, the psychology of self-sabotage, and the spiritual dimensions of artistic endeavor. It is a manifesto for all who have felt the stirrings of inspiration within their breast, only to be quelled by the shadow of resistance. Pressfield offers not just diagnosis, but a remedy, a way through the wilderness of our own limitations towards the promised land of creative fulfillment. The book does not promise an easy journey. It does not sugarcoat the realities of the creative life. Instead, it offers truth, hard-won wisdom, and the camaraderie of shared struggle. To read The War of Art is to arm oneself for the battles ahead, to kindle the flame of resilience, and to step forth with renewed vigor towards the realization of our most cherished dreams. In the grand tapestry of human endeavor, Pressfield's work serves as a clarion call to all who dare to dream, to create, and to live with authenticity and purpose. It is a testament to the indomitable spirit of the artist, the entrepreneur, and the visionary, offering not just hope, but a roadmap for transcending the mundane and touching the sublime. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Your support means the world to us. Click subscribe and hit the bell to be the first to enjoy our upcoming audiobooks. Together, let's continue this amazing journey through stories and tales.